What size crew is working on this project, and what are you responsible for?
The crew of Con Man is a typical crew that you'd see doing a small independent film. Definitely, there are some departments that don't exist, like we don't have an effects department. But honestly, the producers have done a really great job, giving us what we need in terms of manpower, in terms of job titles, and giving us what we need in terms of equipment on a very low budget. Because though money was raised and it's a significant amount of money, I would say that our operating budget, which is different than the money that you see that has been raised total, I think it's like $3 million or something it says on Indiegogo that was raised total. That's not what we're working with. A lot of that money, you'd have to ask the producers where a lot of that money went, but a lot of it has to go to fees and this and that, and giving back to the investors is a huge chunk of it. Huge chunk of that $3 million actually spent to kind of give benefits to the people who paid for it. So we have I don't want to say what the number is, but we have a very, very small budget. I mean, let's just say that it's a fraction of what one episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. costs, and we're doing essentially, I don't know how many episodes are slated. It's 4 scripts that are 30 to 40 pages each, and so I've just been thinking of it as a feature film, because if each script is, let's say 35 pages, that's 140 pages. That's a long feature, but that's a feature. And we have sort of a feature film, indie feature production schedule, which is, I believe, 22 days total. So that's usually, if you got a small movie, 100 to 120 page script, shooting 22 days or so, that's your average, like, no budget movie. Even though we have $1 million to work with, it goes away really fast. But again, we've had our whole crew is composed of just the best of the best. I mean, on a project like this, you tend to, oftentimes you have to hire people that are maybe, have never worked in that job title before. Like they were maybe a set decorator, but they weren't the art director. So everyone's kind of bumping up in job title. You use these small projects to get things on your resume and move up in the world and this and that. So, but really, I don't think there's anybody like that on this show. That everybody is at the top of their game. I mean, my camera crew are largely the camera crew from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They were all able to come out and kind of do this as a, not as a favor, but like they came out, we'll make a quarter of our day rate and we'll just have some fun right before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets starting. The shoot gets started in mid-July for the 3rd season. So those guys we're all buddies, and we'll come out and we'll have some fun. And but all the departments, the art department, sound and lighting and grip, I mean, everybody, they're all pros. They're all like A-list pros that are miraculously here, working at a discount to help out the project. But again, there's so much goodwill that's been spread by, Alan and Nathan and the Whedonverse, it's easy to find people to work on things like this, because they just know, like, oh, this is good. They're good vibes here. Everyone's everyone's cool. There's no one's going to screw anyone over. There's not going to be any backstabbing. Not that there's a lot of that on film sets at all, but that there can be shady moments here and there. So that's what our crew is like. Now, in terms of what I do as a cinematographer and what I'm in charge of, I'm sort of my role on this show is slightly different than normal, because Alan Tudyk is the writer, the executive producer, the director, and also the star of the show. And he's in nearly every scene. He might be in every scene that we shoot, actually. I've never done the math, but if he's not in every scene, he's in 99% of the scenes. So that is a lot of workload to take on. And so I've been sort of trying my best to help him. This is his directorial debut, of course, as well. So I'm he's completely competent and a really good director, but he's spread so thin. So I'm trying my best to support him and not play like co-director by any means, but to maybe suggest things that I wouldn't suggest otherwise in a normal director-DP relationship, just because I know that he's been in front of the camera acting while the scene's being shot, and he hasn't seen what I've seen, or maybe there's no time for him to play the footage back, and so I'll say, hey, I think we need like a tighter shot, and we need to or we need to go again on what we just did, even though you feel like it's perfect. Like, just trust me, we got to go again. And Alan's been great, and he has this great trust in me, which is, largely on faith, because he's never worked with me before, but he's just fantastic, and he trusts me, and I try and help him as much as I can. But he is certainly directing the project. He's directing the hell out of it, as one might say. But so again, a little bit of extra duties for me just to help out our captain. But mainly, I am involved with directing the imagery. So what that means is, putting my input into the blocking of the scene so that it adheres to our limitations or our preconceived plans for the frame, for the composition. So, let's say we're in a room and there's a window to the left, and I planned, okay, if the scene blocks out like this and everyone's turned toward the window, it'll look a certain way, and then the actors block the scene out with Alan, and it goes completely opposite my plan. I might have to step in and say, hey, can we do it over here because this and this and this, and and sometimes we make compromises, and sometimes we go back to my plan, and sometimes we just say, no, what the actors did was better. Let's just change our plan on site. So it's getting involved in the blocking, and then once the blocking is in place, then choosing the lens that we're going to use, the focal length, choosing what kind of camera, if it's a static shot, if it's a moving shot, if it's moving, is it handheld, is it on a crane, is it dolly, is it Steadicam, and excuse me. And but I have two great camera operators, Miguel and Kyle, who again are from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and so my camera operators, sometimes DPs operate their own camera, but I try not to operate my own camera when there are multiple cameras, because when there are two cameras, suddenly you have to be looking at the other camera constantly to make sure things match up. So again, the producers didn't have this budgeted. It was a real kind of hard budgetary hit for them to hire another camera operator who they hadn't planned on hiring, but they were great. They trusted me and said, do you think this is important? Let's do it. And it has been a huge importance, because what I can do is then say to Kyle and Miguel, all right, guys, like 25 mil over here, or 24 mil over here, and 100 mil over here with some foreground. One's on a dolly, this other one's static. And then I just say, got it, good? Okay, good. I'll be back in 10 minutes, and then I have to run over to the gaffer and the key grip, and who are essentially you can call them the photography team. The gaffer is in charge of the lighting. They're called the electricians. Basically, it's everything having to do with electricity and everything having to do with lighting. And then the key grip is usually the resident wizard of the set. The key grip does everything from the menial tasks of having the guys put sandbags on stands to shaping the light. The gaffer puts a 10K light here, it's blasting across the set. It looks horrible. So what the key grip does is he goes in there, he puts a flag in there. Here he puts some diffusion in there. He shapes the light, and usually under my guidance and direction, we as a team of three, the gaffer, cinematographer, and key grip, adjust the lighting and make it how we want it. And the key grip is also involved with the dolly and any kind of camera movement. That they have crazy giant grips. Don't get enough love and respect in this business. They're often joked about as being kind of laborers or thugs or something. But I'm here to tell you, the grips. If I were stranded on a desert island, the one person from a film crew I would have with me is the key grip, because that's the person, the guy or girl, who knows how to do everything and will keep you safe. That's the other thing. So that in a long-winded way is basically what I do. And then during the interim, every other department, whether it's sound or art or costumes or makeup or hair, they have questions, and a lot of times the director gets asked a million questions, but there's another million questions lurking out there that need to be asked, and I usually answer them. Where little things like, do you think is the skin too tan? Did I put too much toner in the skin for the makeup, or how's the hair? Is it too frizzy? So there's a lot. They usually come to me, and they asking for guidance, or just wondering, like, hey, I've been on the project for more twice as long as they have. I've been prepping for longer. I know each scene, how it's supposed to interlock, and and how it functions in the greater piece as a whole. So not everybody has that time to prepare, and so they might say, "Hey, is this?" I think it says the script says that there's supposed to be blood on the shoulder, but like what why is that? And then I'll say, "Oh, it's because 4 scenes earlier this happened," and they'll be, "Oh, okay." And so I sort of help sort of like keep everything clear, and also give my opinion on shades of paint, and they'll say, "Is it this red or this red?" Like this wardrobe is always like, is this shirt going to moire? Like some shirts, the pattern on the shirt will like cause a wavy distortion thing on camera, and so they'll be like, "Oh my God, is this going to moire?" And I'll be like, "No, it's okay, it's good. I love the shirt," and then they'll go off and do it. So it's a weird job. A lot of it, much like the director, is half of your job is in preparation before the actual shoot happens, and the other 45% of it are asking questions and keeping people clear on what the objective is. The other 5% is, I suppose, ability to shoot things well and light things well.